Guys, today's video we are going to talk about magnets and knowing if you have a set of magnets that are not marked and you're not sure what goes where. We actually recently had a customer reach out to us because they had bought, I believe it was some magnet traction magnets. It might have been for a T-Jet, but either way, they weren't marked and he wasn't sure what to do. And so we walked through via email kind of what to do, how to check that. So I thought, it's probably a good time to make a video. So I have a set of pancake magnets and a set of inline magnets. These obviously are both marked, but I do want to show you kind of on various cars how to know what's what. So something to talk about here real quick is you'll see the relationship of the magnet that is marked white. So on the Viper car, the white dot, it will coincide with that side of the crown gear, and that's because that motor from the front is going to be turning counterclockwise if you're looking at it from the front. Now the Tyco, on the other hand, is rotating clockwise, which means that the white magnet has to go on the driver's side and the crown gear on that same side. Now, if you wanted to switch the direction that the car drove, you could pop the rear end out, flip it over, and put the car on and run it backwards. The problem with that is the way that the armature and the brush timing is. It's running differently than the way that it was designed. So it could end up running hot. The Tyco is neutral, so it wouldn't really matter that much. And almost always on these, whenever I rebuild the Tyco, I usually will flip that, or if you go to upgraded magnets, I will go to the white magnet on the passenger side, just because that's what I'm used to with the Viper cars. But when it comes to the pancake cars, you can see this Auto World 4 gear. We have a white magnet in the back, red magnet in the front, and let's use that one as the first example. So let's say that these magnets were not marked and we didn't know what went where. Well, there's a couple of ways to do this. The first way is you can definitely just stick your magnet on there like so, and that will tell you which side needs to be white. So you can take a white paint pen, you could take a silver Sharpie, which is what we use a ton. That's what we mark our magnets with. Or you could even use a black Sharpie and just make a mark on that one. I've done that before too, and I just know that the side that's marked is the white, because that's typically the only side that's ever marked. On the Auto World, and I think even on maybe some of the older T-Jets, they might have had both marked. But if we try to take this same magnet and put it on the front, it will not, no matter what way we go, except for backwards, it will not attract to that correctly. Okay, it will attract to the back correctly though. So that's a very simple way on a T-Jet to know, or on a pancake car, to know what is where. And typically these don't have traction magnets, so you don't have to worry about orientating that like you would on the Viper car or whatnot. So moving on to the Viper car, we have two magnets here. These are both marked. What you can do with these is, if this was unmarked, we'll just flip it over and pretend that we have a set of unmarked magnets. You want to take the arced face and you want that to attract to the backside of the magnet. So if this was on the wrong side, you can see the arc face is facing out. That means that is the opposite magnet. So this one would go on this side, this one would go on that side, and at this point you could mark your magnet, which we just magically did by flipping it over, and now you know that those magnets go on that side. That's really all you need to know on the inline stuff, and it doesn't matter if it's a Viper car, Super G Plus, Tyco, any of that stuff. If you had two magnets, I can use these same exact magnets. Pretend that they're Tyco. The arc matches up to the outside of the magnet, and that would be the side that those ones would go on. So more than likely, if you're buying magnets as an upgrade, you're going to have a car that's most likely assembled already, and you're gonna start with that. So I would recommend marking those so that you know if they are unmarked, like in this G Plus. Okay, you guys can't yell at me because it does say G Plus right there. Okay, I didn't say Super G Plus, I said G Plus. This is our Super G Plus. Okay, he's super, he's staying over there. Okay, so this one, they're not marked. And so what I would do, we have our crown gear side. We're gonna take our silver Sharpie. We're gonna make a dot on that. That's up also, and that's another key thing that I wanna point out. Whenever you're changing magnets or taking apart a car, always mark the tops, okay? Because especially on magnet cars, the bottom corners of the magnet, let's see, I'll use these. The outside corner or edges, if the cars run low, they will come in contact with the rail and it'll wear that corner. And you might lower the car to compensate for that as that edge wears away. And if you put the car back together, exact same setup, but you flip those magnets over, not side to side, but you just rotate them to where now there's a fresh edge. Now the car it'll have too small of tire on it because that edge is there. It's gonna be in direct contact with the rail. So I always make sure you mark those or pay attention to that. As the car gets more and more broken in and as you lower the car, that is more and more evident. So keep that in mind, especially on the race car stuff. But back to this G Plus, this side is obviously, we've determined that because that's the side that the crown gear is on. And when we disassemble this, put it back together, we wanna make sure that we put all of that on the same side, okay? So I have a Lifelike car here, the M chassis. This is a unique car because it has 2 motor magnets, which that part's not unique, okay? So, that's not super unique. What's unique is it has a flux collector, okay? So it has a flux collector, which means these magnets are exactly the same magnet, okay? They are 2 of the same magnet, and when you put this flux collector on there, it actually changes the way that the magnetism is, and it allows the armature to turn over between those 2 magnets, okay? And because all magnets, it's a plus and a minus, or a positive and a negative, or a north and a south. And when you do this, if your bottom is south, your top is north, and that north attracts to another south, and then the bottom would be north. And that's how that setup works on these. It also makes it to where this doesn't use traditional Tyco timed armatures. It is a end bell timed, or a 90-degree timed setup armature, which if you've ever bought an armature for a Lifelike M car, or if you ever shopped the Viper site, you will see that listed in the upgrades, that you do not want to use a Tyco time. So just because it has brush barrels, and this is one of the only exceptions, because it has brush barrels doesn't mean that it automatically is Tyco, and that's because of the flux collector. So I wanted to point that out here because you're not going to find either of these with a white mark on them, but you will find that this side, if you wanted to be consistent, you could mark this side, pull that flux collector, and reinstall it the same way that you disassembled it. The gear is on the passenger side or driver's side on this one. So I thought that I'd throw that in there just to kind of prevent that question from popping up down the road. If you know more about this or have a better way to explain it, I'd love to hear it in the comments. You guys are always great about that. We're just trying to keep things as simple as possible so that anybody can understand it and basically make the determination at their bench as to what is what. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the video, and if I missed anything, throw it in there. Let me know in the comments. We'll see you on the next one.